First of all, Mr. Myers, do you believe nicotine causes disease?
I think that we know that nicotine is harmful to the adolescent. It's harmful to the developing brain. Nicotine delivered to a young person, particularly at high levels, increases the likelihood of addiction, and we know that addiction as a young person is far more likely to make it hard for anybody to stop later on in life. There's also much that we don't know because we've never delivered nicotine.
Let me stop you.
Sure.
You answered my question. Ms. Gould, nicotine, is it harmful to you, to a user?
Nicotine is an addictive substance. In the FDA's own words, nicotine does not directly cause the estimated 480,000 deaths each year from smoking-related disease. And our product was designed to give...
So nicotine is not harmful. Is that what you're saying?
I didn't say that.
Okay, is it harmful, yes or no?
I said what FDA has said.
I know what the FDA says. I'm asking you. Do you believe nicotine is harmful?
I think FDA is the better source for that answer.
Okay. Mr. Myers, are you aware of a clinical trial that proves Juul's #1 claim that Juul devices help adult smokers quit cigarettes?
Unfortunately, we do not have a clinical trial that accomplishes that goal.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Gould, why has Juul never conducted a clinical trial to prove the #1 claim that it makes, that its devices help adult smokers quit cigarettes?
Juul has undertaken a number of studies and will continue to do that. There are a number of studies that have been conducted, randomized controlled trials. There was a study published this year in the New England Journal, not with Juul, but using e-cigarettes compared to nicotine replacement therapy.
Okay, but why has Juul never conducted a clinical trial to prove your #1 claim, that Juul devices help adult smokers quit cigarettes?
Juul says that our product is intended to help smokers stop smoking combustible cigarettes, and we have conducted...
Have you applied to the FDA for Juul to be considered a smoking cessation device by prescription?
No, we have not.
Okay, so Juul has not done that. Now I want to go to another topic, which is this, and it's clear that Juul has not conducted a clinical trial to prove its #1 claim. Yesterday, we heard from two kids, Philip and Caleb, who I believe are right there in the front row, two high school students from New York City. Juul went into their school and presented a seminar and called Juul, quote unquote, totally safe multiple times. How that could happen is much clearer when you consider how the Juul curriculum came to be. That program was based on Stanford's acclaimed youth vaping prevention curriculum, wasn't it, Ms. Gould?
That's not my understanding.
So it has nothing to do with Stanford's youth vaping prevention curriculum?
So when we started seeing media reports of youth using Juul products in 2017, we engaged with educational experts, including several retired superintendents and principals, and they advised us and helped us to create a curriculum and advised reaching out to schools. And we take the criticism that that was not well received. And
let me just interrupt. Sorry, I'm losing my time here. Stanford sent Juul a cease and desist letter demanding that Juul stop using their acclaimed youth vaping prevention curriculum because it was misappropriating it. Juul had taken the materials of Dr. Bonnie Halperin Felsher without her consent, removed key portions including the role of industry and marketing in promoting nicotine use, and misrepresented an affiliation with Stanford. Juul's key deletions downplayed the health effects of Juul, and that context helps explain the presentation Philip and Caleb heard. Now, we have received evidence from Juul that it has a school program where it actually pays schools $10,000 or more to implement Juul curriculum. Is that correct?
That is not currently the case. We ended that program in the fall of 2018. And as I was saying before, we had hired educational experts to help us come up with a program that we felt would be helpful to stop kids using Juul. We then received feedback that that was not well perceived, and in addition, received input from a public health expert telling us what tobacco companies had previously done, which we were not aware of. And as a result of all of that information, we stopped that program.
But Ms. Gould, you don't deny that Juul had paid schools such as Agua Fria Union School District in Arizona $10,000 to conduct those programs in those schools, correct?
My understanding is that there were 6 schools that received funding from Juul to implement programming to prevent teen vaping. We changed those agreements to make sure that they would not be using Juul curriculum. I would have to check which schools actually used that curriculum.
We would ask that you come back to us with that information. Finally, we have an April 16th, 2018 email about setting up a booth at a school health fair. Julie Henderson was the head of Juul Youth Outreach. Later on, she said she expressed concern about the optics of us, meaning Juul, attending a student health fair, given our now new understanding of how much our efforts seem to duplicate those of big tobacco. On May 18th, 2018, we then see an email from you, that's Exhibit 17, in which you say, "Here is the paper that ended the Think, Don't Smoke campaign undertaken by Philip Morris," and attaching an article. Top officials appeared to be aware that you folks are employing programs that are almost identical to what Philip Morris and other tobacco companies used in quote-unquote youth prevention programs in schools. Do you deny that you had written this email in May of 2018?
As I was just stating, it was a public health official who shared this article with me, which I then shared internally to say, we need to understand what came before us, and that is why we ended the program.
I now recognize Ranking Member Cloud for 5 minutes of questioning.